Hello, this is Destiny. I'm good. How are you? Yes, it is. Okay. Yes. I actually was planning on working for Disney for the rest of my life. I really want to be an animator, and yes, thank you. Correct. No. I did make myself familiar. I went over it several times. I just have one ear piercing. I also have a tattoo on my left shoulder blade. It's a cross and it says "His love never fails." And then I also have I actually measured it before. So it's 6 inches tall by 4 inches wide. Um, yes. And then I also, are you familiar with the military? Yes, I have another one. I only have two. I have one on my right thigh. It's on my right thigh. It's kind of in the middle. It's the fallen soldier tattoo, and it takes up a pretty good chunk of my thigh. It's probably like 9 inches by 4 inches. Yes. Yes, I would. I actually wear pants every day. Yes, I do. Yes. I actually have 18 brothers and sisters, so I've pretty much had roommates my entire life. Yes. And then when I moved to college, my first year, I stayed in a dorm and I had a roommate. So, first time I had a room to myself was when I got my own place. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we've never all been in the same house before because I have lots of brothers and sisters and some of them are married, so they go to other houses. But yeah, it'd be a full house. Yes. I think I'd adapt pretty good to living with people from other countries. My first year of college, I met a lot of people that were from Zimbabwe, and I thought that was really interesting to like learn about their culture and learn about them. Because I mean, I've always wanted to travel, but never had the money to actually go and travel yet. So I find it very interesting. Like I can learn something from these people before I get to their country, or I can go visit them later on in life. We had a preschool program, and it also went all the way up to 12th grade. I was in the preschool section, and I would help any teachers with anything that they needed, like if they needed copies, I make their copies. There were two classrooms where, because preschoolers, they don't get a hot lunch, they bring their lunch, and I would set out like 30 kids' lunches on their tables. I'd make all their beds. When it was snack time, we had snacks 3 times a day. I would always go and get the snacks, pass them out to all the classrooms that were in the preschool section. We also had a playground. I would take the kids out on the playground. If a teacher needed to go to the bathroom, they'd just call for me. I'd come in their classroom, stand in there with the kids. A lot of the times I'd play games with them or read stories to them. Just kid stuff, basically. Little kid stuff. Hmm. Yes. Yes. I've also worked at Walmart and KFC, and I just recently got a job at Pizza Hut as a delivery driver. Um, I was a nanny because usually during the summer I get like 3 jobs, and just so I'm not bored sitting at home. Last year I was a nanny. I also worked at Walmart, and I worked another place. I don't remember where that was. Um, I've done a lot of volunteer work. I do a lot of mission trips. Uh, Pretty much every year I do about 3 to 4 mission trips. Sometimes they're only for a weekend. In my home state, I've done some in Oklahoma where we went for about 2 weeks and we helped out at this cowboy ranch, I guess is what you would call it. Just helping little kids learn how to rope and stuff like that and having to clean up like cow poop. It was pretty interesting. Yeah. My favorite thing. I really just like at all my jobs, I've loved that I get to just meet a bunch of different people and talk to a bunch of different people. Like I'm very much an extroverted person, and so getting communication throughout every job, every aspect, and just learning from people, I think that's what I like to do most, especially at Bath and Body Works where I was like stalking and selling. I think, and everybody always complimented me on my selling aspect. And so I really liked that people, noticed me that I was a really good seller, but I also talked to them a lot and kind of got them to buy things even though they didn't think about it. So I think the most challenging one so far was again Bath and Body Works just because there was so much multitasking and we had recessed lighting in there and there were over 250 bulbs in like a 250 square foot room. And yes, it was very hot, and we always had to wear pants and these, I think they were Toms, is what they're called. I had Bobs. Had to wear like hot shoes, and we were constantly having to be fast paced, stalking and then also talking to a customer and just being multitasked. I think what made it so hard though is that it was so hot. Like we had multiple customers walk in and say it was too hot, and so they just left the store. So yes, I think that was probably the most difficult thing was how hot it was, and we were in there. I was worked 5 to 10 hour shifts. Yes. We didn't have doors in Bath and Body Works, but we're like the inside kind of mall. I wish we would have been a strip mall. We could have just left the doors open, but yeah, we were an inside mall, and it was very hot. I'm okay with fast pace. I really like the moderate pace because then I can be a little bit more personable with the customer. Um, get to learn a little bit more about them, what they're in there for, as opposed to being really fast paced and having a lot of customers come to the door at one time. You just have to be like, hey, here's our sales, here's a bag, and then you have to go on to the next one. So you're not really getting to get a feel for them and sell them on your product. I usually end up being the leader just because everybody that I've ever been in a group with is kind of a slacker. So anytime that I've done a group project at school or um, even at work when we're doing teams, usually I would be the team leader just because I'm the one that would end up doing all the work anyways. So guess it's better to just go ahead and stick me as a leader. Hmm. I'm completely fine with it. I mean, I don't really have a preference. It's Disney. I'd just be excited to work there. Um, yeah, I've only been to Disney once, and so I wasn't really familiar with how the heat is. So I don't know how the heat is compared to Arkansas, but yeah, I'm pretty adaptable. Yeah. I remember there's like one thing that I thought about that stuck out. And it was when I went and saw the Lion King show, and I was in a wheelchair because it was like the last day that I was going to be there, and my feet were so swollen that I couldn't fit them in my shoes anymore. And so my friend was pushing me around in a wheelchair, and we went and saw the Lion King show, and it was just absolutely fantastic. There was this guy dressed as an alligator, and he was just awesome. Yeah, it's a great show. Yes. I actually have one from Red Lobster. It actually ended up being a dine and dash, and this was in like my first 2 months of working there, and it was my first dine and dash I ever had. It was two boys, and they were probably in their 20s, and from the second that they sat down, they were already being kind of rude to me. And, they affect my money, so I was being really nice with them. Um, and, I'm not sure how familiar you are with the restaurants, but, getting up charges on alcoholic beverages, I was really selling them on the alcohol. They got like three or four different types, and then they went to the top shelf version of it. They ordered food to go. They ordered a whole meal that was like the most expensive thing on the menu, and they kept like harassing me and being very rude. And I was still nice, and I told the manager, hey, this table over here is being a little bit rude, maybe you could say something to them. Well, after I got their food to go, I set it down, gave them the check, went to go check on another table, and I had come back and they had left, and the checkbook was underneath. And and so it was kind of hard for me because I've never had a dine and dash, and I've dealt with difficult customers. Like my first job at KFC was when I was 16, and my first day, the first customer I ever had made me cry because he yelled at me. And I wasn't used to anybody yelling at me except for maybe my dad when I did something bad, but that's completely different. And so, the manager handled it. He called the cops, and then I don't know if it ever got resolved with the cops because I knew the guy's name from his ID that he had to show me, but it was definitely a hard table to get through with. Like, they were harassing me, like making sexual comments. It was horrible. Yeah. I've never, I don't think I've ever had like a serious emergency. I know that there was a kid when I worked at Arkansas Christian Academy. There was a little girl, she had stuck a pebble down in her ear and it got stuck. And so her teacher was freaking out about it. She's like, I don't know what to do. And so I had to tell her, let me go find the boss. So I went and found the boss, and there's like this trick that you can do to get them out. It's really weird, but yeah, and so she got it out, and usually we've had to call an ambulance before. I don't know why kids want to stick things in their ears, but but we have had to call an ambulance before, and you, my role was to keep the teacher calm. It's not your fault that the kid stuck a rock in their ear. It's just their curiosity. Yes. I think what I would say, maybe if I was like a concierge at a hotel, and they just got there and they were checking in. I know one thing for me was they said welcome home, and I was like, oh my gosh, like yes, it's finally there. And so I think that that's what I would say because it feels so personable, and you're inviting them in to your resort and like your life there on Disney. And I just thought that was great how they were like welcome home, and I was like, yes, I'm finally home. This is where I'll be for the rest of my life. I'm okay with going on high heights. I know the Tower of Terror, I don't know if I ever want to ride that ride, but I would be perfectly fine with going up there and clicking a button for attractions, letting them go down and hearing them scream. I'm totally fine with that. Well, I might just explain to them, that we're having a bit of a difficulty. Um, I know we had, what was it? I think it was Space Mountain broke down when I was there and we were just about to get on it and they gave us a fast pass for us to come back the next day. And so if that was an option for me at the time, maybe I could give those guests that were complaining a fast pass for the next day because it is kind of an inconvenience for it to happen, but it does happen. And I think everybody kind of knows that, but maybe just keeping up that character integrity and, being very Disney and happy and saying, well, I can't fix it for you right now, but let me give you something that can fix it tomorrow, or give them an option to go ride another ride that has like a short wait time. Hmm. Hmm. Um, I think the roles that I would be most qualified for would be attractions. I'm really good at like hyping up a crowd. I've had to, do that before, and so even though it's kind of repetitive to either like click a button or something, I think it'd be really fun because you're getting a lot of people coming in and out, and I'm really good at talking with people. Merchandise might be another one. At Bath and Body Works, I was always complimented on how good of a seller I was. I don't know how you really do it at Disney, but if you need me to sell something, I can probably sell it. And then I also thought about greeter, just because I said I'm really good at talking with people, and I'd really like to just make them feel at home, make them feel welcome when they first get there or first into the parks. I might tell them that they need to go see Alice and get some of her growth bread, and that they can come back later and try. Because I've been told when I was a little kid, we have one theme park where I'm from, and I was told I couldn't ride. And so we came back like a week later, and my dad let me stand on his shoes. So I wouldn't suggest that, but maybe just encouraging a kid that they are going to grow, and the ride's still going to be here. They can come back. Hmm. I would love to make peanut brittle. I love peanut brittle, but yes, I'm 100% okay with that. Yes. I just really, when I was at Disney, I always found it interesting, like the character attendants, even though they know what's behind the magic, I just think it would be magical to help make memories with the character and with guests that are at the park. I just think that that would be awesome to be a character attendant. Not only do you get to learn a lot more about the characters, the people that play them, but you also get to make magical moments for all the guests that come in the park. Maybe there's like a little girl that's dressed as Cinderella coming to see the godmother, and you can make like it's such a big deal about it. And I just think that that would be so awesome. I'd probably tell him like, Winnie the Pooh had to go to the 100 Acre Woods to snack on some honey, but he'll be back shortly. You know how he is. Yes. Okay. I'm good either way. It doesn't really make a difference to me. Um, outside, maybe if there's shade, maybe if there's not. I'm pretty prone to sunburning, but it doesn't matter. Well, if I got accepted to be a character attendant, I know I'd have to be outside. So I don't really have a preference, but yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. I do have about two questions. Because this is the first time that I'm actually moving out of state. Like, I have my own apartment, but it's literally like down the street from my brothers and sisters and then from my parents. So are there like any tips that I should know or that you have for moving a long distance for a period of time? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I was just curious of how you got started with Disney because I think it's kind of inspirational. Well, that's awesome. Yeah. No, I believe that's it. You too. Thank you. Bye. Oh my gosh, talk about unnerving. My elbow hurts. I didn't even want to move. Drop that! Sorry, that's my dog. Oh my gosh. Okay, so at the beginning, stop it! At the beginning, I didn't catch her name. Go. Because she kind of talked a little bit fast. And so I didn't write it down, but I feel like it went really well. I mean, I answered all the questions. I know I said a lot because I kept like thinking, I was like, don't say And then I said But yes, I think it went very well. There's one question that she didn't ask me. Well, two that I can see on here. What does Disney mean to me? And how would you make a guest stay? Which I kind of answered. How I would make a guest stay? What are you doing? Whenever I said, like if there was a little Cinderella coming to see the godmother, that would make a like really big deal about it. And oh my gosh, he's eating cotton out of this alligator that I just bought him. And just making it really personal. So hopefully I get the job. I'm sorry, I'm cleaning up a bunch of cotton. Hopefully I get the job, which, I mean, I'm praying that I will. But if not, there's always next year. This is the third time that I've applied. I'm not going to let it hinder me any more than what it already has. Just being nervous. What else? How would you benefit from the DCP? She didn't ask me that. She did ask me about the Disney look. She asked me about tattoos. What are you looking for most to the DCP? Wasn't asked that, which I felt like that would be a really good question. I wasn't asked it. Okay, sorry. Difficult guest, I got asked that. Didn't get asked for going above and beyond for a guest. I feel like that might have been a big help if I would have just like thrown that in there as, this is when I had a difficult guest, but this is when I went above and beyond for a guest. I really should have done that. Didn't think about it. Stupid. I haven't had like a real emergency, but I do have like a list of what I would have done. I would have followed protocol, called 911 if it had been necessary, get a manager, and most importantly, like stay calm. I feel like that's like one of the things that you really need to do is just stay calm. Skills and quality, she didn't really ask me, but I did throw them in there in case you didn't catch it. Like I said, character integrity, like integrity is a really big thing for Disney. What else? Yeah. Oh, and then the roommate thing. I know a lot of people were getting asked, name a time where you had a difficulty with the roommate, and so I like listed down here that when I did have a roommate on a college campus, that the big thing was our dishes and also our trash. She would Tetris the trash, and I would be like, the trash can is literally 20 feet from our door, and she wouldn't take it out. Like, I always ended up taking it out, which is fine when I see it needs to be done and I take it out. But when you see it needs to be done, don't just stack stuff on top of it. Just like take it out. It's 20 feet outside the door. It's not a long walk. And then dishes, I would do her dishes. Like we both came with our own dishes. And so, if there were dirty dishes in the sink, we only had like one small kitchen sink. It wasn't like one of the double-sided things. And then right next to that was like a space for a microwave, and that was it. And so I would do the dishes. I would do all the dishes. Well, then when she would do dishes, she would do her dishes and leave my dishes in the sink. And so we ended up making a chore chart and posting it in the living room. She didn't ask me if I was okay with speaking in front of large crowds, which I did have a story for that. I led a PATH conference, which is Partners Against Trafficking Humans. I led that for Faulkner County in Arkansas. I led it and I constructed it. I also spoke at it. And I also had guest speaker Louise. I cannot think of her last name right now. It's escaping me and I really don't want to look at my phone. So yes, I had her come and speak at it, which she is the person who founded PATH. She used to be in trafficking, so I felt like that was probably a story that I needed to share, but I didn't. I had an opportunity to and I didn't. So I got nervous. Don't be nervous. Also detail. I shared as much detail as I could remember during the time that I was speaking. Again, now it is really easy to remember stuff, but when you are on the phone with perhaps the greatest company in the world, it's really hard to remember stuff off the top of your head. That's why people make a cheat sheet. I made a cheat sheet, but I made it for the wrong stuff, kind of because of my last video. If you saw that one, I had studied the wrong questions because they have changed the questions. What else? Smile. I have it written all over my board because, I wrote it on a whiteboard. And then I had my, let me see if I can turn this. I had my notes on it. Yeah. So, yes, I forgot where I was going with this story. Anyways. So yeah, I felt like it went great. I will definitely post a video for whenever I find out if I made it or not. And if I made it, you will know because I will probably be screaming off the top of my head, like tears rolling down my face whenever I get this interview. I'm just going to whip out whatever camera I have and just start recording just so you get like the full extent of, oh my gosh. So yes, I will see you next time when I find out if I went through the interview, if I got the job or not, and then I'll probably tell you what I got. Hopefully a greeter, possibly attractions. You know, I'm really, really awesome on attractions. I'm a hype girl. All right, I'll see you guys soon.